Ever wondered how a massive container ship, like one carrying a zillion pairs of sneakers from across the globe, unloads, and ultimately how those shoes end up on your feet?
Interesting question.
Well, get ready because today we're diving headfirst into the world of ports and logistics.
A world undergoing a serious tech revolution.
And you're not going to believe this.
What's that?
It's all thanks to lasers.
Lasers. Okay, now I'm really interested.
I know, right? Lasers. And before you think, okay, cool, but how does this affect me?
Yeah. Let me just say, the pandemic really threw a wrench into the global supply chain. Remember those shipping delays? Empty shelves.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Ports are under immense pressure to move goods faster and more efficiently than ever, especially with booming Asian markets adding to the mix.
Right, the pressure is on. And the reports you shared, well, they paint a picture of a perfect storm.
You know, it's captivating. Ports are grappling with challenges on multiple fronts. We're talking megaships, way bigger than their predecessors, demanding supersized cranes and deeper harbors. And then on top of that, there's this constant pressure to minimize environmental impact, all while fending off cyber
It's
attacks.
like trying to solve this giant high-stakes jigsaw puzzle, but the pieces keep changing shape.
And here's the thing,
What's that?
the tech itself is a huge part of both the problem and the solution.
So true. We often think of ports as simply places where ships dock and unload, but there's so much more than that.
Absolutely. They're evolving into these intricate ecosystems driven by data, automation, and interconnected systems. Every container, every movement needs to be tracked in real time, and that requires a ridiculous amount of bandwidth and processing power.
Let's unpack this tech tangle a bit.
Yeah.
The sources you sent, they really dive into the limitations of existing solutions, like take fiber optic cables, for example. They're reliable, sure, but imagine trying to rewire an entire port every time there's an upgrade.
Yeah, talk about a logistical nightmare, not to mention the cost. It would be incredibly expensive and disruptive.
And while radio waves might seem like the obvious choice, Wi-Fi for the win, right?
Well,
They come with their own set of challenges in such a demanding environment.
right.
It's kind of like trying to stream your favorite show during, peak hours with a ton of devices all fighting for bandwidth.
Right, things are going to buffer, or worse, just completely cut out.
And in a busy port where every second counts, that's a recipe for disaster. Not to mention the security risks of broadcasting all that sensitive operational data over radio waves.
Yeah, it'd be like leaving a door wide open for cyber criminals.
Exactly.
Which brings us to the unexpected hero of our story, lasers.
Okay, so when I first read about this, I have to admit, I thought it was straight out of a sci-fi movie.
Yeah,
Lasers, shooting across the harbor, beaming data between ships and control towers. It sounds pretty wild, no?
it does have a certain Star Wars appeal,
It does.
but the reality is this technology is already making waves. They call it transcelestial. Essentially, they've created wireless fiber optics using lasers. They can transmit massive amounts of data at incredible speeds.
We're talking faster than traditional fiber.
In some cases, significantly faster. And the best part, no need to rip up the ground and lay down physical cables.
Okay, color me impressed, but even I can see a few potential issues. Ports aren't exactly known for their calm and predictable weather. We're talking salt spray, torrential rain, fog thick enough to get lost in. Can lasers really cut through all that?
That's a good question. And it's where things get really interesting. These aren't those fragile laser pointers you see around, the ones that get thrown off by a bit of mist.
So how do they work?
This technology uses a sophisticated system, mirrors and sensors, to maintain a stable connection even in rough conditions. And get this, the report mentioned a case study in Hong Kong.
Hong Kong.
Yeah, they're hit with some of the worst monsoons, right?
And-
Well, they set up a 1 kilometer laser link, and not only was it up and running in under a day, it even exceeded performance expectations during heavy rain. I'm talking 70 millimeters per hour downpours.
Wow, that's some serious rain. So they've got the speed and reliability, but what about security? We were talking earlier about the risks with radio waves. How do lasers stack up there?
Another area where this tech really shines, because the beam is so focused, it's incredibly difficult to intercept. Like sending data through an invisible, ultra-fast pipeline, far more secure than broadcasting over radio waves. And with all the cybersecurity threats these days, well, that's a game changer for ports.
So we've gone from digging up concrete to lay cables to beaming data through the air with pinpoint accuracy. It's amazing when you think about it. But let's bring this back down to earth for a sec. Why should someone listening to this, maybe on their way to work or something, care about lasers zipping across a harbor? How does any of this affect their day-to-day life?
That's the million-dollar question, right? We hear about these advancements, but don't always see the impact. Remember that perfect storm we talked about with ports under pressure to move goods faster? This laser tech is a key piece of solving that puzzle.
So smoother, faster port operations, which ultimately means
Exactly. Goods, everything from that new phone you've had your eye on to those essential things you order online, well, it can all get to you faster and maybe even cheaper. Less downtime means fewer delays, lower costs for businesses, and those savings, they eventually get passed on to the consumer.
that's an impact we can all appreciate. And the really exciting part is this technology has the potential to be so much bigger than just ports. This is way bigger than just like shipping lanes and sneakers, right?
Oh, absolutely. Way bigger. Think about any industry that relies on speed, on secure communication, like instant, reliable data transfer.
Okay, I'm thinking.
Financial transactions, right, could be processed instantly. Remote surgery, where precision is key, could become even more accessible. Even self-driving cars, they depend on real-time data to navigate.
So this tech could make them safer, more efficient.
Exactly. And that's just scratching the surface. The potential here is huge.
It's like we're on the verge of this whole other wireless revolution.
Right.
But instead of just connecting devices, we're connecting entire industries.
Making them faster, more efficient, more responsive. It really is exciting.
It is. And the report, it even touched on some companies already using this tech, like Cyber on Air in Hong Kong.
Oh, yeah, they're using it to, well, combat those monsoon disruptions, right?
Yeah.
Ensuring they stay connected, even in the craziest weather.
That's wild.
And then there's Teleplex Solutions. They're bringing high-speed communication to these remote areas in Malaysia.
Bridging the digital divide with lasers. It's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it.
It really is, and it makes you wonder, what other industries will this tech transform? What haven't we even thought of yet?
It really is incredible. So listeners, next time you see a laser, don't just think cat toys or, laser tag. Think about the invisible networks it could be powering, the data it's moving at the speed of light, the potential it has to, well, reshape our world. Thanks for joining us in this deep dive. Keep those imaginations going.